Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating an important day. That is Global Energy Independence Day, which is celebrated and commemorated across the world, as it aims to raise awareness about the importance of alternative fuels. We are currently using fossil fuels as our prime sources, and they need replacing as they are getting exhausted and depleted and also causing huge pollution. Fossil fuels are non-renewable and require a very long time, millions of years to form, and they are also a source of pollution. On this day, we raise awareness against fossil fuels and focus on finding alternative sources that are renewable and relatively non-polluting sources of energy. Michael D. Antonovich, a member of LA Country Board of Supervisors, started this day in 2006. It serves as a reminder that energy is one of our basic needs. Our ancestors in prehistoric times did not need much energy. The bulk of their energy requirements were for keeping their bodies running. But with the invention of fire, the need to have a source of energy gradually increased. The fuel for the fire was simple, available, and free. But over time, our requirements have increased along with our greed. Discoveries came over time and everything needed energy. Hence, new forms of fuel were eventually discovered and used. We started using wind energy. By the time navigation began, natural oils were also then introduced as a first form of liquid fuel, even before the invention of any fuels. As the factories started, the need for a fuel that could output a considerable amount of energy became obvious. Out of this need, coal was found and later petroleum. Coal was a popular fuel in the medieval era. It powered large-scale industries and cities. but the pollution caused by burning coal is a concern. Not only burning, the entire process of extraction coal from mines to the power generation causes a lot of impact on the planet and also creates lots of pollution. Hence, we started looking for alternative clean sources of energy. Now, the know-how to make clean and renewable energy from wind, sun, water, and other sources are available, but we are still not able to process enough power to stop using fossil fuels. So we have made progress in our search, but our technology is still limited in extracting energy from natural resources. Global Energy Independence Day is a reminder to focus on creating better technology and ideas. Greenhouse gases are destroying our environment, and fossil fuels are the cause. Finding a better fuel source is the only way to have a cleaner world in the future. Not only just lot of energy produced is also wasted in the form of lightning lights, especially we see a lot of malls, shopping malls, even theaters, lot of churches, and lot of other religious places and monuments that are being lighted with huge number of lightings everywhere, indoor, outdoor. How much energy is consumed? Energy that creates a lot of demand. So more the energy is wasted, the more energy needs to be produced for other purposes. Instead of such wasting of energy, we see New Year celebrations, Christmas celebrations and whatnot, and various other festivities, celebrations. You see everywhere it's lighten up. How that lights glow or run on energy and where that energy comes from. Of course, you are paying, but at what cost? It is not just the cost of production, but it is the cost of depletion of resources. So are we paying for that? So we need to be aware and conscious, use our common sense that only when required we have to use lights. It's not that you have bulb, you can afford for paying for the electricity and you can afford for buying more bulbs so that you can put every centimeter or every feet or every meter of your building decorated with lights and simply waste the energy. You know, many people, many villages, in fact, across the globe, does not have electricity supply. They are living without electricity connection, without energy supplies. Do you know that? Just Google it. Now everyone is smart enough to have smart mobiles with internet. Just Google it and find out how many villages, how many communities are living without an electricity connection across the world. Even in developed countries, the most developed countries like US, there are villages where they do not have this electricity connection. Forget about developing countries or underdeveloped countries. Even in developed countries, they are facing this issue. Now, as a responsible citizen of the planet, as a responsible citizen of the nation, is it not our responsibility to conserve the energy that is being produced so that it can be utilized for the ones which are needed? Today, we have become so much mean and selfish. Unless and until we face, personally, we go through it, we are not learning a lesson. Earlier were nice days where people used to learn by seeing, by listening, by hearing. But now people are learning only after going through it. Now, is it necessary? We have to think at what stage we are. Is it necessary? To know about cancer, is it necessary that you get a cancer and go through the pain and entire suffering? It's not required, right? To understand the need of energy, no, unless and until your house is disconnected of energy, is it like that you don't realize the value of energy? You don't realize the value of electricity? Just imagine 2 days due to some reasons you don't have electricity in your home. What will happen to you? Then you will realize what is the value of the electricity. And you are using so many bulbs and so many lights, and you are wasting energy. Now, this is the problem, paradoxical situation that humans are facing. They are not able to, everyone knows. It is not that earlier where there's days where we were not aware, but now we know we are doing wantedly, either due to negligence or ignorance or thinking that it will not happen to us, or we will see when it happens to us. This is the kind of attitude, this is the kind of perspective or thinking that is making that in spite of knowing this is not a good thing to be done, we are still doing such things and wasting energy resources. Otherwise, this energy could be used by some other person, by some other industry or some other hospital which requires lights and power to run other crucial, essential energy systems or medical systems. So we need to be very careful. It's not that it is free. It's not that you can afford it. These are all limited resources. Yesterday also we were talking about natural resources, or for that matter, any resource is limited. There is nothing unlimited in this world. Everything comes at a cost. Either you are directly paying or indirectly paying, or in any case, if you are not paying, someone else is paying for that, for you. Either it may be nature is paying for you or environment is paying for you. For everything we utilize on this world for free or for paying, someone else is paying for that. Even if you are utilizing at subsidized prices, someone else is compensating the loss that is incurred, which is given at subsidized prices. So there is nothing free in this world, because human beings are no longer thinking in a very human way, because their irrational thinking, illogical thinking has made the entire world commercial capital and every person capitalist, and they are thinking in terms of return of investment. That is creating a lot of issues, because we are not concerned. Only we are concerned when energy is coming, when resources are available. We are not bothered because it doesn't belong to us directly, or we do not have that emotional connect with that resources. But whereas if you have to give 1 rupee or 10 rupees or 100 rupees, that is just an example. Then you will think, oh, this is my 1 rupee. Why I have to invest this 1 rupee, or why I have to donate, or why I have to give away this rupee? If it is yours, and when you are having that attachment to that, when you are having an emotional connect to that, you are not wasting that. But when it belongs to others, then you are wasting others' resources. It may be nature's, or it may be environment or planet. That is where, even at the cost of the planet, but that it is again hitting back in terms of our karma, our deeds that we have committed or we have taken up. So it is a high time that today we need to be energy independent. And this is a global energy independent day. And we all need to conserve energy, do not waste energy, and vouch for clean and green energy. And there are various ways. Every house can go for solar energy. We have abundant sunlight, sun rays, heat energy. So every building, I think in coming days, it would be a mandate that every building, whichever is coming up, every construction must have a solar energy or solar energy facility that is installed on the roof of the building. Or even in coming days, we might also see such regulations that even the doors and windows, which are made of glass, which are used to decorate the buildings, either the exteriors or extensions, must be a solar panel. Because we have seen already countries in the East where not Eastern countries and Arab countries where there is huge oil available, fossil fuels available underground, they are also depleted. Even we have seen Dubai, where it came to know that in next few decades, all the oil wells will get dried up. And today, they are richer because of the oil wells. Like we drill here, we get water. If we put a drill there, if we dig a bore, you will get oil there. So they had plenty of oil. They had plenty of oil, but now the oil resources are depleting, and they know that in future they will not have oil. Even there will be a stage where if they want oil also, they want petrol, diesel also, soon they might also need to import from other countries. So that is the state of many oil producing countries as their natural resources are depleting. Just imagine all the oil, fossil fuel sources are depleted. Now, how your vehicles run? So is it till that time you will wait and then take back your bicycles and go for a ride by pedaling it? Or at least now realize that this is the case, and at least for certain short distances, let's take our bicycles and use that bicycle. That will also promote our health, physical fitness, physical well-being, and also other dimensions of health. So let's not use our vehicles. Let's not unnecessary switch on our lights, ACs and fans, air conditioners, or whatever energy appliances. Always try to conserve energy. So energy saved is energy produced. So we can save a lot of energy. And it's everyone's responsibility. Gone are the days that, what will happen, that kind of thinking we have to get out of it, that what will happen if I alone save it, or what will happen if I alone do not save it. Now, everyone has to take the responsibility, or everyone have to pay for that. Now, even if you believe it or not, this is Kali Yuga. Means everyone has to suffer for their doings in the same life. It was not that concept earlier, your children are for your grandchildren will suffer for your doings. Anyway, that is there. If you are not going to repay everything, that will carry along with your interest, like you are inheriting your property, your sins, your bad karma will also get inherited to your children and grandchildren. That is karma theory. So whether you belong to one religion or not, it doesn't matter, because a wrong is a wrong, irrespective of a religion. Because religion is something that is an optional for a human being. But the rights and duties, the responsibilities are same for everyone, irrespective of any religion or any belief system. So it doesn't matter which religion you belong to, karma is applicable for everyone. Karma is nothing but your good doings and bad doings. So if you are doing good, you will be getting more of good. If you are doing more bad things, then you will get facing lot of bad things in your life. As simple as that. There is no need of any religion into or any belief system in understanding this simple concept. So no one is exempted, in fact. So if you think that I belong to this religion, we don't believe karma, or I am an atheist, I do not belong to any religion or any belief system, this does not affect it. There's nothing like that. Like COVID has affected everyone, irrespective of any religion, any national. Like that only our karma is like, it is very, secular. It is truly secular. In fact, it doesn't see whether you are a Christian, you are a Hindu, you are a Muslim, or you are a Buddhist, or you are Jainist. It doesn't matter. You are a human being or not. Only eligibility is whether you are a human being, whether you are doing good or bad. Only there are two accounts here. One is good account and bad account. You have to balance it. You have to accumulate more good things in your life, do more good things, so that you can get rid of bad things. If you do more of bad things, that will be accumulated. And if you don't repay it in your lifetime, then your children and grandchildren are going to pay it. There is no escape from it. It will go as in the form of DNA, RNA, and all. It will be there forever for your generations. So it will come as a lineage. So you cannot get rid of this. No science and technology has developed that you can change the entire DNA of your children or RNA of your children. This is beyond the scope of science. And by the science discovers, and human beings will become extinct. As we have seen, a lot of things we are destroying. And by the time science even crosses its infancy stage and enters into toddlerhood, by that time the entire planet, or at least human beings, will become extinct. So that is a kind of thing that is happened. So the only immediate action that can be taken is being conscious of what we are doing and being responsible, accountable to the nature and environment. So we have seen initially we were using wood as source of fuels and oils as a source of fuel, even wax also as this bee wax, which is naturally available from the beehives, that was used as a oil. Even in earlier days, some oils were extracted by crushing those seeds and filtering the oil, and that was used as fuels in initial days. Later on, even windmills came. Windmills were initially used to draw water from the ground as bore wells, or because at that time there was no motors or no pumps available. Later on, that was used even to grind floors, floor mills, cereals, pulses, and all those things. And later on, the same technology was used with modification for generating electricity. So that's how we have these wind turbines, windmills, using wind energy. And later on, the mining started. And in the West, the Virginia has the first commercial mining, Richmond coalfield. And then the petroleum mines came. George Christian Conrad Honus discovers petroleum while drilling for lignite in 1858 in the West, and so on. We had explored various other sources. So the Global Energy Review Report was issued by the International Energy Agency, IEA, in 2021. And the Energy Independence Indicator is the ratio of net inputs of the sum of gross inland energy consumption plus bunkers. That's how energy independence is calculated. And most experts indicate that oil, natural gas, and coal will deplete this century. So by 2050, if we continue to use the fossil fuels like oil, natural gas, and coal, if we continue to use at the same rate, or even if we try to consume more, by 2050, now it is 2023, another 27 years, within another 27 years, after that you cannot see coal, after that you cannot see oil, after that you cannot see natural gas. All the oil wells will get dried up. Now what you will do? After 2050, there will be no petrol, no kerosene, and no coal to produce. Even to see also, you will not get coal. So 27 years is not so long. How many of you think 27 years is a very long time? So this is the problem. By 2030, most of the forests will be gone if we try to exploit at the same pace. Now, what we are doing, this is a kind of damage human beings are causing on the planet to meet our greeds. So what we have to do, try to use other natural resources or artificial sources or fuel sources like solar energy. So that is renewable energy. Anyway, we are getting sun rays, heat is generated, light is there. So what we can do, we can shift to solar energy. We can have solar panels installed wherever we have space. Then we can generate electricity, and the same electricity can be used. Solar water heaters are there, solar cookers are there, and solar pump sets are there. So we can use solar as an alternative energy. And if you can install a wind mill also, wind turbine, that is also good, because for small requirements, it doesn't cost much. You can also have alternative mechanisms, but otherwise each windmill, that is wind turbine, will cost somewhere around 2 crores. Of course, there are certain other variants which might cost less or more, but it's a very costly affair. You need to invest. And it's not just that you buy and keep it, you need to maintain it. You cannot keep it in the middle of the city, because that's a very big one. And, those blades will be rotating, and there will be birds moving, flights moving, drones moving, and all sorts of air traffic is there, right? And there will be cables moving here and there. So you cannot just install in your rooftop unless and until it is a small premature version. So you can have, even that is also, now people are coming with, solar trees and other things. In a similar way, that miniature models are also there. You can go for that, but the effectiveness is comparatively less. So there is a need of greater innovation. So in that way, you can try, building more and more alternative sources, fuel sources. There are plenty of other energy sources that can be used and which are renewable. Even like biogas is there. Whatever solid waste you are generating from your kitchens, from your households. You can use that in the biodigester and you can get gas. And that gas can be used for cooking, heating water, or even with a biodiesel generator, you can also generate electricity. But again, at an individual household level, it may not be viable because the quantity required is comparatively higher. So maybe for your entire apartment, if it is a big apartment, then it would be viable. Or if you are installing that in your community or society, then that would be more viable. At least you would be able to generate. Otherwise, for cooking, it's fine. Even a single building can also meet certain requirements for cooking. So similarly, try to use such alternative forms of energy to fuel your daily needs. And we will agree that all fossil fuels are not the future we need. So let's organize online and offline events with your friends, colleagues, students, researchers who share your enthusiasm and ethics. Promise to reduce the use of fossil fuels for forever. And there are many countries, which are importing energy, like electricity from other countries. Can you name some of them? Like Luxembourg, Japan, Ireland, Republic of Korea, Belgium, are the top 5 energy importing countries. So they are using more energy than they are generating. So that's why they are importing energy from other countries. Even India also used to import earlier. But now India is also exporting. And petroleum discovery was found while drilling for the lignite, and that's how petrol diesel was used. But by 2050, all the petrol would disappear, all the diesel and fossil fuels will disappear. After that, anyway, we have to move to alternative energies, at least conserve them for future generations, at least they will be able to see them. And slowly, it takes thousands and thousands of years for again to replenish. So let's quickly move on to other sources of fuels. And today is also today we are also commemorating Nikola Tesla's birthday on the occasion of, or which coincides with the Global Energy Independence Day. So we will also see the commemoration of Nikola Tesla. And today, the United States is responsible for 44% of the world's gasoline consumption. This is a big culprit that has created a huge issue of depletion of natural resources, because in the entire world, only United States of America, USA consumes 44% of the total gasoline consumption. See how much this country is using and creating. Actually, the developed countries are the nations which are responsible for all kinds of pollution, for the greenhouse gases emissions, for the global gas emissions, for the climate change, for the ozone depletion. These developed countries are the culprits for all the evils on the planet. And they do not also share their technology with others. That is also one of the greatest blunder they do. And they do not share their technology. And even if they share, it comes at a huge price that all nations cannot afford. And that's why they are not able to utilize it. But at what cost? Because of their pollution, all the countries are suffering. Because of their climate, these global gas emissions, all countries are facing droughts, or excessive rainfall. So is it not their responsibility to share their benefits also, which they have earned at the cost of other developing and underdeveloped nations? So because of their greed and selfishness, today all the developing countries and underdeveloped countries are also suffering. The initial diesel engine was running on peanut oil and various other oil seeds. They were grown. At that time, you may be wondering how earlier these generators were running when there was no discovery of petroleum or diesel. They were run on various oil seeds. Now there are palm oil was there. And that famous, what they call that? In English, I'm not able to recollect that. So even when there was no petrol or diesel or kerosene, we were using these oils, which are natural, That's why we didn't have that much pollution. Even street lights were used, lit by the oil. So there was less pollution because they were, natural. So earlier days, these engines were running on oils, natural oils like oil seeds, oil extracted from oil seeds. So a renewable and clean energy source of fuel is quintessential quite essential for human development. And this day is dedicated to finding such an alternative sources of clean and green fuels and adopting them. So this day also ignited discussion about fossil fuels and the pollution they cause. Pollution is major concern for all of us. It can reduce the quality of life and can cause the extinction of various species. We love to have a day to explore better ways to reduce pollution and make this a world a better place for all its inhabitants. And as we know that fossil fuels are non-renewable fuels, they take millions of years to form and sources will deplete in a few hundred years. Now, as we have seen, by 2050, all these sources will disappear. And at the rate we are consuming now, it is high time to find other alternatives that are better for our health as well as the environment. Today, we are commemorating Nikola Tesla's birthday, who was born in Smiljan in the Austrian Empire. A modern day, it is Croatia, on July 10th, 1856. An American Serbian inventor, electrical engineer, mechanical engineering, and futurist. He is most famous for his contribution to the design of modern alternating current electricity supply system. So Tesla's mother, Juka Mandik, inspired him to become an inventor and engineer, as she often created home-crafted tools and mechanical appliances, and also had an incredible memory with the ability to memorize Serbian epic poems. So Nikola Tesla's brilliant inventions and contributions to modern technology have made him a household name in the West. Tesla was born on 10 July 1856 in Smiljan in a modern-day Croatia. In 1870, Tesla attended high school in Karlovac, where demonstrations of electricity by his physics professor sparked his interest in electricity. So Tesla started working for the Continental Edison Company in 1882 as part of the division responsible for installing lighting systems in private homes. He gained practical experience in electrical engineering and even designed improved versions of generating dynamos and motors. In 1884, Tesla moved to the United States to work at the Edison's New York division. Tesla left the company in the same year and started working on patenting an arc lighting system. In 1885, he established Tesla Electric Light and Manufacturing with the help of financial investors. The venture was short-lived. However, he later formed the Tesla Electric Company in 1887. Later that year, Tesla developed an induction motor that ran on alternating currents, a system that was becoming popular in Europe and the United States. The design was patented and sold for $60,000 to George Westinghouse in 1888. In 1889, after learning about Heinrich Hertz's experiments proving the existence of electromagnetic radiation, in 1901, he started working on radio transmissions, competing with Guglielmo Marconi to be the first to transmit radio signals across the globe. Tesla lost to Marconi and spent the rest of his fortune trying to improve the design. Tesla remained a bachelor in his whole life and believed that this helped him develop his scientific abilities. He was very asocial, and tended to work most of the time. And he even claimed that he never tried to sleep more than 2 hours a night, performing to work in his inventions. In 1943, at the age of 86, Tesla died of coronary thrombosis. So the beginning of Tesla's electrical engineering career was when Tesla moves to Budapest, Hungary, where he is given the position of chief electrical engineer at the Budapest Telephone Exchange Company in 1881. So Tesla starts work at Edison. He works for a division that installs indoor lighting resources and improves engineering prowess, which grant him opportunity to relocate to the United States in 1882. So Tesla comes up with a design that utilizes alternating current that greatly improves previous designs and provides more benefits, improving the electric motor in 1887. Tesla begins to investigate what would later be known as X-rays using single-terminal vacuum tubes in 1887. So Tesla reaches ways to transmit power through inductive and capacitive coupling and designs. So thus the Tesla coil to do just that. So works on wireless power transmission in 1890. So Tesla introduces the public to electrical power by illuminating the exhibition. He helps power the world's Columbian Exposition in 1890. So Tesla has changed the world with his development of alternating current power system and his pioneering work in the field of radio communication. Tesla changed the way we think about electricity and electromagnetic radiation. Without him, we wouldn't have television, smartphones, or even Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Everyone loves a mad scientist. And Tesla fits the bill. He was very quirky, constructing complex inventions in his mind. He sometimes suffered from visual flashes and hallucinations, which he said helped him to come up with solutions to problems with his inventions. He even had 2 secret laboratories in Colorado Springs and Warden Cliffy, Manhattan. There were many times in his life when Tesla couldn't get funding for an invention, but that didn't stop him from trying. He developed many ideas for innovations that he never saw to fruition. And he even spent the last of his own money trying to bring them about. Tesla's biggest life lesson is to preserve and never give up. Tesla was extremely intelligent. In his high school, it was said that he could perform integral calculus in his head, which made teachers think he was cheating. Tesla was able to obtain about 300 patents worldwide for his innovations, having large number of patents to his credit. And Tesla had a photographic memory. He was able to memorize complete books, an ability that genetically passed down from his mother. Tesla was a polyglot, which means that he spoke multiple languages, including Serbo-Croatian, Czech, English, French, German, Hungarian, Italian, and Latin. Before he started constructing an invention, Tesla would visualize it in his mind down to the tiniest detail and measurement. He was a picture thinker. And it is estimated that Tesla could have IQ ranging from 160 to 310. And Elon Musk is not genetically related to Nikola Tesla, but he was inspired by the Tesla as an inventor and engineer. So you might be wondering, so Tesla had made huge money, huge fortune, but did he become rich? No, unfortunately, the money he made from all the patents made him independently wealthy. He was rich. He could have been rich if he couldn't have invested that money into his lot of failed projects, because he tried many things, but most of them did not work out, and he lost lots of his wealth, time, and resources in that. But after that also, he made very significant contributions. Though he did not become rich, but he contributed a lot. So he lost his fortune after investing it into failed projects. So let's recognize the efforts and alternate uses of electricity and energy. So today we are also commemorating Pick Blueberries Day in US. It is a perfect time for activity as the day falls in the summer. Blueberries are extremely popular berries in the United States. Even they are known to be rich in antioxidants. Here also we see this is the season for blueberries. A lot in the markets you can see blueberries are sold. Blueberries are extremely popular berries in the United States, and they are known to be rich in antioxidants. Raw blueberries also have the most flavor and great benefits. These factors are reason enough to get out of the house and go for blueberry picking. If you are fortunate to have, these are generally big trees. If you are fortunate to have, you can go pick up blueberries. Otherwise also, you can go to the market and pick some blueberries from the markets. Hope you all remember that blueberry. You know, if you eat, your entire tongue becomes blue color. Even we see, even it is crushed, your hands are all blue. So it is celebrated annually in July, a peak summer month that is ideal for harvesting these juicy and mouth-watering berries. This day is also part of National Blueberry Month, which was founded by National American Blueberry Council, that has officially been recognized by the United States Department of Agriculture since 2003. There are two distinct types of blueberries: low bush blueberries and wild blueberries, and high bush blueberries. So these low bush blueberries or wild blueberries are the ones identified as small and pea-sized berries that grow on low-level bushes. So these are small trees and bushes. And the later are the larger berries that grow on taller cultivated bushes. People easily pick blueberries from semi-wild or wild bushes. So these low bush berries are easily to pick up, but this Big ones, they grow to a big trees, plants. So like you have to climb the tree or use some fruit pruners or some stick-like thing to collect them, or you need to climb the tree to harvest. So high bush blueberries were quite popular in Germany, Sweden, and Netherlands. Even in our country also we have, even in our locality also we have these trees nearby my house. So when they were introduced, they became quite popular. After that, they have spread to other regions in the European continent and are also widely enjoyed. Even in India, we see these at many places. And this most commonly cultivated species of this berry in North America is the northern high bush blueberry. Canada is a leading producer of low bush blueberries, while the United States produces approximately 40% of the world's supply of high bush blueberries. So some of the popular regions where high bush blueberries are produced are British Columbia, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Washington, among others. So initially used by Native Americans, blueberries are now used for many things such as topping in several dishes or eaten as a plain healthy snack. And these overall health benefits are reason enough to give a day dedicated to picking blueberries. So blueberries can be picked between the months of June and August. June, July, August are the ideal months. However, ensure you do not pick them as soon as they turn blue, as it's ideal to wait out for a few days. Blueberries will fall right off in your hand with just one touch. They are very delicate and they are ready to be harvested. So you can see most of the berries, when they are ripe, they fall down. And you can see plenty of berries that can be collected from the ground and washed and can be eaten. Unless and until they are too ripe. So blueberries are delicate and perishable, and hence it is advised them to store in the fridge and only wash them right before eating. This will prevent them from becoming mushy and breaking down. And just give them a quick bath in a vinegar and water solution the moment you get them home. Dry them and place them in a clean container lined with paper towels. The vinegar helps to kill any mold that could cause them to spoil, and this method can make them last as long as 10 days in our houses. Generally, they don't stay longer. 1-2 days it get perished. But if you use this method, it can be stored for 1 week or so. But always try to consume it fresh. And blueberries can be grown in your own garden. You can plant tree, but generally they grow into big trees unless and until you are having this low bush blueberry variety. So use this day to plant blueberries and see them grow. And choose a sunny yet sheltered spot that is not exposed to wind. Plant them away from trees as they may block the sunlight and moisture required for the blueberry plant to grow. So whip up a tasty dessert or blueberry day. It can range from a sweet salad or blueberry smoothie or blueberry compote yogurt or a blueberry cheesecake or a pie. Blueberries are naturally blue owing to the pigment called anthocyanin. Anthocyanin is the pigment that makes the blueberries blue, and that gives them their distinctive color. That's why when you eat, your entire tongue color becomes blue. Even be careful when you are eating. If it falls on your clothes, then there will be blue stains. Of course, that can be washed, so nothing to worry much. And this also can act as organic colors. and several species, approximately 30 different species of blueberries growing in various regions. And these have been consumed by people since quite long time. Blueberries are a superfood for a reason, as they are packed with several health benefits. They are antioxidants that can help improve memory. They are an excellent source of energy owing to their low glycemic index, keeping your blood sugar relatively stable. Blueberries also contain phytonutrients that are anti-inflammatory and help in elevating water retention. They even help in muscle repair after an intense workout. So there are a lot of benefits, and especially it is a seasonal fruit. So try to grab them in this season only. And blueberry picking as a fun activity enjoyed by families in the summer. It's fun, it's easy. The fruits of your labor are genuinely delicious. So make sure you are adding blueberry picking activity to your list of fun activities to do. And these are so versatile. They can be eaten fresh or frozen, or can be added to any other salad or dessert to enhance the whole flavor profile. Blueberries are one of the easiest superfoods to serve. Today is also commemorated as Teddy Bear Picnic Day. Nowadays, it has become a trend. Earlier, there was no teddy bears, unless, but nowadays, almost every individual has had a teddy bear stuffed toy in their lifetime. Nowadays, it's quite common, thanks to the media promotion, that you will have at least one teddy bear as a keychain size also. And teddy bear stuffed toy is their lifetime. And another reason teddy bears also became so popular, because we are becoming so lonely. We always need some companion to talk to them or to cuddle, to hug them, right? And life-size teddy bears have become so popular. Generally, bears are very good for hugging, though they are very dangerous animals. I mean, they are not that dangerous, but because of being in the wild, and they are very cautious. So comparatively, they are dangerous animals. But they do not harm, but they are very strong and have a huge weight. So even if they don't want to harm also, if they hug you also, it will break your bones. So that is a kind of thing. Anyway, just a sarcastic. Okay. So nowadays, more and more people, especially girls, are buying these teddy bears because they can use as a sleeping companion. They keep hugging them and sleep. So it is quite popular in females rather than males. So generally, this day is also being in summer in the Northern Hemisphere. It's a perfect occasion to step outdoors and have a picnic with your children in adorable teddy bears. This is all in the Western context. Now we have rainy season, but in the West it is summer season. So the minute we hear this word teddy bear, it invokes a warm, fuzzy feeling in our minds and hearts. The humble teddy bear has worn many hats since its inception. From being a cuddly playmate or a collector item, though not many people know where the term teddy bear or the concept is stuffed toy even came from, it is quite an interesting story actually. It all happened that once during a hunting trip back in 1902, the then US President Theodore Roosevelt refused to shoot a bear that someone had tied to a tree. So he stated that shooting it would be unsportsmanlike. And that's how the story of teddy bear came about. And that incentivized certain toy makers to make and sell bears with the name of teddy bear. And since then, They have become an integral part of the peoples across the world and age groups. This creation is what led to making the song The Teddy Bear's Picnic in the 1900s. Initially, a melody was written for this song by John W. Bratton, and many years later, Jimmy Kennedy, an Irish songwriter, added the lyrics to the tune. This song has been loved and enjoyed by children and adults alike over the years. Owing to the immense popularity enjoyed by the song, Teddy Bear Picnic Day was created to give us a chance to celebrate the simple and small pleasures of a picnic with these stuffed animals. So don't forget to prepare your teddy bears for this unique and fun holiday. So even in 1989, a short film, The Teddy Bear's Picnic, is released, which features two teddy bears attending a picnic. So today is also commemorated as National Wyoming Day in US. To celebrate the day, it became the 44th state that joined the Union. The territory was brought into existence by an act of Congress on July 15, 1868, with the government being formally inaugurated on May 19, 1869. This day also marks another important occasion on which women were granted the right to vote. So it celebrates two occasions. The first, the day it became 44th state of the US, and second is the day Wyoming Territory passed the bill to grant voting rights to women. It is sometimes even celebrated on December 10th at the behest of Wyoming Federation of Women's Club, who requested this particular day to commemorate the passage of the bill to vote. So the states in the West approved of the women's suffrage, as some of the men recognized the important role women played. The state of Wyoming has been inhabited for roughly 13,000 years. More in around 1869, it was observed that the territory had a huge imbalance in the male and female population. The territory was occupied by 6,000 adult males, but only 1,000 females. Men hoped that more women would settle down in the isolated territory and elevate their issue of loneliness. If they were granted the right to vote, moreover, a territorial legislature by the name of William Bright was convinced by his young wife that it would be a gross injustice to deny women the right to vote. Thus, in 1869, the then governor signed the bill that officially allowed women to vote. Wyoming boasts many monuments and historical sites. These include the Fossil Butte National Monument and the Fort Laramie National Historic Site. The state even provides magnificent views in Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park. And it is also home to 7 national parks, including Yellowstone, which draws millions of tourists every year. The park features Old Faithful Geyser and the largest hot spring in the US. A congressman from Ohio was the first person to propose the name, but later had doubts that when he saw Wyoming's dry and wide plains, as Wyoming means at a big river flat. So Spain and Mexico had nominally claimed the southern parts of the modern-day Wyoming. However, they did not actually live there. So it's believed that John Coulter, who was a member of the Lewis and Clark expedition, was the first American to set foot in the Wyoming. So Wyoming is also known as the Equality State, owing to its contribution to advancing women's rights. So why not carry forward this legacy on National Wyoming Day and advocate for women's rights issues and still need to be addressed? Wyoming is the least populous state in the United States with a population of close to 575,000 people. A small population. More than half of the land in Wyoming is owned by the federal government, including National Forest, Thunder Basin National Grassland, and the F.E. Warren Air Force Base. So most of the land is government-owned land. And Wyoming's official state sport is rodeo. and its trademark symbol is bucking horse and rider. Wyoming has nicknames such as Equality State, Cowboy State, and Big Wyoming. Wyoming was the last state to increase the legal drinking age to 21 from 19 in the late 1980s. So we are also commemorating today as National Transplant Financial Coordinator Day in US. It was established by the Board of Directors of the Transplant Financial Coordinator Association, in short known as TFCA, in November 2020. The day was observed to raise awareness about transplant financial coordinators and patients going through organ transplant process. This day aims to provide factual financial information to such patients and their families, along with maximizing the reimbursement of the transplant centers that come under TFCA. So when we look at the background, it starts in 1992 when the Patient Affairs Committee sought approval from the United Network for Organ Sharing, in short known as UNOS, to instruct all transplant centers to appoint dedicated staff for providing financial counseling and sorting insurance difficulties faced by the patients. Later that year, the UNOS proposal sent a proposal that emphasized the importance of the new role of Transport Financial Coordinator, in short known as TFC. A 1998 countrywide survey of 274 transplant hospitals states that 83 of the 133 responding institutions had staff that spent at least half of their work time dealing with the financial concerns of transplant patients. So on an average day, coordinators can check patients' insurance coverage, seek patients' transplant authorization, respond to inquiries, or deal with billing and collections. The results were presented at the 6th Annual UNOS Transplant Management Forum. A recommendation for the formalization, the position of UNS was also presented. Following the June 1999 board meeting, the requested recommendations were implemented. On April 10, 2001, the TFCA, which is a non-profit professional organization, signed an agreement of association. Its goal is to consolidate the distribution of helpful financial information related to organ transplants. The organization delivers relevant financial advice to the patients and their families while optimizing compensation for their transplant centers. The TFCA Board of Directors established National Transplant Financial Coordinator Day in November 2020. Today is also commemorated as National Clery Day. We love humorous poetry, and what's better today to celebrate on than this day. It is also birth anniversary of Edmund Clery Bentley, the creator of this poetic form. The main conventions of the Clery are that it is only 4 lines and has a AABB rhyme scheme. It mainly talks about a single subject, such as a person or a non-human being, and focuses on a key fact about the subject. It is always humorous, which makes it amusing for its readers. So it is also celebrated to commemorate the birth and accomplishments of Edmund Clery Bentley, who is known to have invented this poetic form and made it famous through his collections of poetry. E.C. Bentley was primarily known for his novels, but it is his poetry that made him a historical figure in the world of literature. Bentley was born in London and began his career as a journalist, moving on to poetry some years later. His first book was titled Biography for Beginners and introduced readers to use the form of verse that became known as Clery. Interestingly, he was only 16 years old when he came up with the Clario. He was on to publish two more collections of poems to solidify his position as an ultimate humorous poet of his time. Even after his death, in 1956, his poems continued to be published, both in print as well as audio recordings. The Clario became hugely popular in America in the 20th century as leading poets of the time tried their hand at writing similar humorous poetry. Today, the Clario is celebrated across the country as a specific poetic form with its own conventions, namely 4 lines of verse and AA rhyme scheme, the name of the subject in the first line, and humorous content. Amateur poets, as well as the seasoned ones, enjoy writing funny clarios on this day, as well as reading poems written by other poets. So clario is a light verse quatrain in lines usually of varying length. It has an AA rhyme scheme. The endings of the first 2 lines rhyme with each other, as do the endings of third and fourth lines. So quatrain is any poem or stanza with 4 lines. So tanka poems follow a set of rules. They all have 5 lines and each line follows a pattern. The first line has 5 syllables and the second line has 7 syllables and the third line has 5 syllables and the fourth line has 7 syllables and the fifth line has 7 syllables. So the tradition of poetry recitals is one of the oldest in human civilization. If you really enjoy writing programs, then writing clarios is a great way to start, as these poems are short and require a single idea that you can play around with. In no time, you can build up a collection of many clarios that would be published as a book or uploaded online in the form of a blog. So the largest poem is recognized as the Epic of Mahabharata, as it is said to be the longest poem with more than 1.8 million words. The first known written poem was written more than 40 centuries ago, is the oldest written poem. The sonnet was made popular by the famous playwright William Shakespeare. Metrophobia is the fear of poetry. Walt Whitman is regarded as the father of modern American poetry. So a lot of people love to write poems but feel intimidated by the works of classical poets. In comparison, writing a clario can be a fun and joyful activity. After all, you only have to write 4 lines and you do not have to write about anything deep. You can simply select any fact or historical account of any person and make a poem out of it. It also relaxes the brain. Writing poems is a wonderful activity to keep brain cells active and healthy. So research shows that process of writing poem helps people to feel mentally free and express themselves without any inhibition. This can be a great way of releasing pent-up feelings about a topic that you cannot talk about with anyone else. While clarios are meant to be funny and humorous, thinking about and writing a poem is a reflective process and gives us a moment to think about our life and our history. It is a good way to see things from a different perspective and analyze our problems more clearly and accurately. Today is also commemorated as International Town Criers Day. So while this may come as a surprising news to many, indeed, it is celebrated on second Monday of every year. Confused about what exactly a town crier is? We were too, as the term itself is one that has passed into posterity and is now archaic, much like the job itself. Also known as bellman, a town crier was basically an officer of a royal court or a public authority whose job was to grab everyone's attention in the streets in order to make official proclamations or announcements to the general public. Here in India, we see a person coming, beating these drums and making announcements, right? This is a similar culture followed in the West. So while we are not sure how effective this was, but it must have been a weighty task indeed, not for those prone to stage fright or afraid of large crowds. So town criers do not get enough attention or the recognition they are due, which is why the first International Town Criers Day was founded in 1997 by a town crier himself, Scott Fraser of Waterloo, Ontario. Despite the importance that his vocation held, Fraser discovered that there was no official day to celebrate his job, and that of many before him, which is why he dedicated to establish one. Since then, International Town Criers Day aims to bring his profession into the limelight in order to highlight how town criers have contributed to the societies and importance of their role in disseminating essential information to the general public. Every country has its form of a town crier before the invention of newspapers and spread of literacy. Thus, the job of town crier was prestigious because they had to literate and were responsible for ensuring that people were made aware of important news. Sometimes these officials were bearers of bad news and therefore needed protection from crowds that want to shoot the messenger. So the laws were passed that declared it treason to kill a town crier. In fact, the phrase "don't shoot the messenger" stems from the command to protect town criers. Today is also commemorated as Bahamas Independence Day. It is a small island nation south of Florida and north of Cuba, and is Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It is a sovereign country in the Lucan archipelago in the Atlantic. The country gained its independence on July 10, 1973. Prince Charles himself handed over the documentation to the Prime Minister Lyden Pindling, officially making Bahamas a fully independent nation. Today, we are also commemorating Don't Step on a Bee Day. So bees have been around for centuries and closely related to wasps. They are mostly found in every part of the world that has insect-pollinated flowering plants. And bees are essential to our survival and play a big role in balancing our ecosystems. They are great pollinators, produce honey, and gives us food. This day marks the importance of existence of these insects and work they do. We also have a dedicated World Bee Day apart from this day. So human beekeeping has been practiced since times of ancient. Bees have been made an appearance in mythology and folklore from ancient times to the present day. In the honor of these important creatures, Don't Step on a Bee Day was created by Thomas and Ruth Roy and is particularly celebrated in United States and United Kingdom. Often misinterpreted as a day that is only focused on not willingly step on bees or harm them, the day holds a greater significance. While it is important that one is aware that walking barefoot may increase the chances of a bee sting, it is also necessary to remember that many benefits that bees bring. The day aims to create conscious about the conservation of bees and highlights the plight they face due to destruction of their habitats. These insecticides, particularly those containing neonicotinoids, They are fatal for bees, along with pollination, chemical exposure, and temperature changes pose a threat to their existence. To ensure that the general populace is aware of this day, there are several events held to educate people on these buzzing insects and how to take care of them and coexist in harmony. Bees have been found a place in popular culture. A humorous animated movie that was released in 2007, Bee movie, showed a honeybee suing the human race for exploiting bees. Maybe the day will come where, these things will happen. So this is a wonderful movie. Everyone should watch. Even I watched when it was released in 2007. It's a very wonderful movie. Everyone should watch. So furthermore, Dave Golskan book A Sting in the Tail, which was released in 2014, describes the biology of bees and his efforts to bumblebees in Britain. And it is also important that people take cognizance of this fact that we don't do our bit in preserving the bees. We could drive them towards extinction, which will cause a ripple effect in the ecosystems. Today is also celebrated as National Pizza Day in Brazil, which is one of the junk foods. And today, Gangaram, who is a great social reformer and founder of the Gangaram Hospital in New Delhi, died in England while functioning as an active member of the Royal Commission of Agriculture. He was against dowry and child marriages and advocated widow remarriage, and also established institutions of vocational education and education for adults. So Gangaram was known to be a kind-hearted man. He is a strict disciplinarian, contributions spanned the fields of architecture, engineering, agriculture, and women's rights. He especially focused on the welfare of widows. Much of what we know about him comes from 1940 book, Harvest from the Desert, The Life and Work of Sri Gangaram by Baba Pyarelal Bedi. So Gangaram was born in 1851 in Mangtanwala village, which is about 40 miles, 64 kilometers from Lahore. Then in United India, that is before partition. So Gangaram, his father Daulat Ram, had left Uttar Pradesh, a northern Indian state, and worked as junior police sub-inspector there in Lahore, because everything was part of India at that time. His higher education was saw Gangaram travel across northern India and the present Pakistan as he went to Lahore to study the government college and then later did scholarship to study engineering in the Thomas Engineering College in Roorkee in Uttarakhand state. Of the 50 rupees he got as scholarship at that time, he would spend half of his this to parents in Amritsar to supplement their income. So he was using 25 rupees for himself and 25 rupees he used to send to his family. After Gangaram secured his engineering degree with the top marks, he became an apprentice in the office of the Rai Bahadur Kanayalal, the then chief engineer of the Lahore, and here began the Gangaram period in Lahore's architecture. He went on to become a top civil engineer and shaped the architecture in the city through his work. He is credited with designing and constructing several magnificent buildings, including the Lahore Museum, the HN College, the Mayo School of Arts, now called National College of Arts, the General Post Office, the Albert Victor Wing of Mayo Hospital, and the Government College Chemical Laboratory. Gangaram used arches and other Indian architectural traditions while employing Western construction devices to protect them from heat and cold of the climate in the Punjab province and ensured efficient and unobstructed sanitation. And renowned Pakistani journalist Khaled Ahmed described Gangaram as the father of modern Lahore in the indelible mark he left on the city. While Gangaram was transforming urban architecture in Lahore as part of his government job, his heart remained in rural Punjab where he had grown. So he returned to his roots in 1903 when he retired from government post and was allotted land in Chenab Colony, later known as Lailapur and Faisalabad, as a reward for his past services. Here he set out to establish Gangapur, a model village with new irrigation and farming systems. He also built a unique system to transport passengers from Buchiana railway station 2 miles away to Gangapur, laying a narrow track to allow 2 trolleys hooked to each other to be drawn by a horse. Gangaram was keen to attempt the irrigation system he had set up in Gangapur on a bigger scale. One of his most ambitious projects was the hydel power projects in Renalakur in Punjab province. The project, which was officially opened in 1925, used 5 turbines to irrigate 360 square kilometers of wasteland and transform them into fertile lands. Gangaram would be up early in the morning to go through his files and prepare for his day. He would sometimes recite verses of Munajat-e-Begwan, the Widow's Prayer, a poem by Urdu poet Mulana Altaf Hussain Ali, to himself. He was often moved to tears when he read the verses. It was the inspiration behind the work he went on to do for the widows in conservative Hindu society. In 1917, Gangaram tried to pass a resolution on a widow remarriage at a religious Hindu conference in the province Ambala city. But when it failed, he founded the Widows Marriage Association and donated 2,000 rupees. It was a very large sum at that time from his own money to it. The association would raise awareness about the difficulties widows faced in the society. And Gangaram soon realized that while some of the widows were too old to remarry, many of them did not want to marry again. So with the government's approval, Gangaram built a Hindus widows home in 1921, costing 250,000 rupees to train such women with skills to support themselves. The home would go on to have 2 schools and a hostel. It would help the widow pass examinations and train them to become teachers of handicrafts. So Gangaram also founded the establishment of Lady Maynard Industrial School for Hindu and Sikh women who face financial difficulties. In 1923, the Sir Gangaram Trust was formed in the engineer's name. The same year, the Sir Gangaram Free Hospital and Dispensary was established in the heart of Lahore. It was later developed as a full-fledged hospital with well-equipped surgical and medical departments. The hospital was second only to Mayo Hospital, the oldest and biggest hospital in the Punjab province. The trust also established a Hindu Student Career Society in 1924 to help Hindu students gain employment, and the Sir Gangaram Business Bureau and Library. Gangaram's last charitable project during his lifetime was the establishment of Hindu Abhaja Ashram over 2 acres of land. This was a home for the elderly, the disabled, and the infirm. After his death in July 1927 in his London's home, some of his ashes were brought back to Lahore and buried next to Hindi Abhaja Ashram as per his wishes. While the ashram is no longer here, his tomb and the Gangaram Samadhi still stands. According to Bedi, renowned Urdu writer Khwaja Hasan Nizami wrote about Gangaram's death, saying that if one could donate one's life, he would have chosen to add his years to Sir Gangaram's life, so that he might have lived longer and rendered even greater service to the distressed women of India. And present day, we can see the famous Sri Gangaram Hospital in New Delhi, which was founded initially in 1921 at Lahore by Sir Gangaram of his times. After the partition in 1947, the present hospital was established in New Delhi on a plot of land approximately 11 acres. The foundation was laid in April 1951 by then Prime Minister of India, Sri Jawaharlal Nehru, and inaugurated by him on 13th April 1954. And this hospital, Sir Gangaram Hospital in India, continues to maintain its charitable character. In according to the wishes of its founder, funds generated from the hospital services are partially used for providing free health care to the poor and needy patients. All development activities of the hospital are financed from internal resources with no financial assistance provided by the government or any other external agencies. Sir Gangaram Hospital is a 675-bedded multi-specialty hospital, state-of-the-art. In India, it provides a comprehensive healthcare India services and has acquired the status of premier medical institution. It is the only hospital in the private sector that maintained nearly 100% bed occupancy due to its reputation of providing the highest level of medical services to the patients from Delhi and neighboring states. This hospital is governed by a board of management comprising medical consultants of eminence, some with an international standing. The Board of Management operates under the overall guidance of Sir Gangaram Trust Society. So the Sir Gangaram Hospital is committed to make available 20% of the beds of total strength for admission of indigenous and financially weaker section of the society. On these beds, all facilities, boarding, lodging, investigations, medicine, and operative procedures are completely free. In addition to that, they are running regular OPDs for all disciplines where patients are seen free of charge. 40% of all investigations is the OPD patients are free of charge. These facilities are provided strictly on a first-come, first-served basis. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. And we thank everyone for joining us today. Today is also commemorated as National Kitten Day. Thank you everyone for joining us today. So tomorrow we are having a special event on World Population Day. So certificates are issued. Free registration link has been already circulated. So you can join speakers from Indonesia and South Africa and from various countries are joining tomorrow. We'll have around 8 eminent speakers speaking on different aspects. So join us tomorrow at the same time, 6 o'clock with the same link. So before leaving, we request everyone to fill up the feedback form. It is mandatory for the certificates. Feedback form has been raised. You can see International Webinar Series overall feedback form. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form with all details before you leave the platform. So thank you everyone. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.